everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to our second Wix.com training session. Rick Hassey here, along with your professors Hicks and Professor Fialo. Just a quick announcement. I have to leave early today to go meet with the Wells Fargo banking people to begin setting up our infrastructure for our accounts for this coming semester. But we had a scheduled CEO, CFO meeting tonight. Samantha, Alex, Andrew, Taylor, and Frank's group. There is no CEO, CFO meeting this evening. I don't have all the data yet from Wells Fargo. That's why I'm going to this meeting to be able to pass on to you and help you and get it all set up for the coming semester. So we will have our CEO, CFO meeting next Tuesday night, February 16th. I will send you an email reminder about that at the end of the week. So no CEO, CFO meeting tonight. So have the night off, relax, do your marketing and management homework. Don't worry about finance. No, that's a joke. And then I'll see you all next Tuesday night. Alex, Samantha, Talia, and Andrew and Frank's group for CEO, CFOs. Okay, that's all I have. Mark and Frank, please go ahead if you have anything to add.
Professor Hassey?
Yes.
A few people from our group they said that they're kicked out of the Zoom meeting and they can't rejoin.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
maybe that has something to do with me.
Yeah, if you join from a different link, it'll change your name to that person.
Looks like you guys are joining with my link. You have to join, they have to join with their registered link. So that could be a problem. Yeah, they can't join with my link. They have to join with their registered link. They should know that. Andrew, if you're here, Andrew,
Yes,
could you send a text message to our group and tell them to, and I see that you are here. Andrew, could you send a text message to our team and tell them they have to log into the training site with their registered link?
And I just put in the chat the link to the meeting, so hopefully that will help. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, I think there's a way you could rename yourself if it matters, but if not, it's fine.
Yeah, because I see there's two Rick Hasseys here. The person who was speaking earlier who didn't have her camera on said she's Rick Hassey too.
Yeah.
You got all these doppelgangers. Professor Hassey, everybody wants to be the Hasselhoff.
They're going to have two Hasseys in the group? Oh, jeez.
Well,
I'm starting to sweat now.
That's creepy in itself. Okay. All right, I'm done.
Professor Hicks, Professor Fialo, anything before?
I'm good. All is good. My group had 2 scoops of marketing this afternoon, so they're probably tired. So take it away, Shad. It's going to be tough.
I guess we'll turn to you, Professor Hicks, for our closing words of wisdom. All right. Well, I think this is a good start. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 things, and we're going to be doing it live and on the fly. So, bear with me if we have any technical experiences. But the goal for today is to upgrade the sites and take them live. Right now they've been live, but we don't have our domain name yet. That's goal number 1. Goal number 2 is to talk a little bit about taxes, because that's always a scary topic. I want to kind of demystify that a little bit and share with you some resources. And goal number 3 is shipping. Shipping is such an important concept when it comes to e-commerce websites. So with that, everybody ready to get into it? Thumbs up. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this screen share on the road. So I'm going to go back to my site. So since coming off the heels of the last meeting, I went ahead and my homework was to kind of add some content to the website. The paragraphs, I changed those to say, a little bit more about our story. So I went through and I added some products on the front end and the back end, but a little bit about us, my story. So I did that. I will mention, if I go back to the back end, understore products. You know, I'm selling t-shirts, skate shirts specifically, and I had to go in and add, you know, pictures of my t-shirts that I'm selling, a little description, the price, and so forth. I know everybody's at a little bit different stage of where they're at in their groups picking products, but so we're recording this. If you need to come back to it, by all means. But the one thing I wanted to share that was kind of like threw me for a little bit of a loop, and it'll probably throw you too, because I've got small, medium, and large. So I had to, you know, turn on some variants here. But was this weight? Because when it comes to e-commerce, and we're going to talk about this in a second, it's, you know, you get charged by the weight, but as well as the distance that you're shipping. So if you're going to USPS, they have these things called zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, so forth. But so I had to go on down to the USPS office and actually weigh my shirt. And the lady there told me, she said, you know, it's 10 ounces. So 1 pound divided by 16 ounces per pound gives me 0.625 ounces, or I guess that's an ounce. So times 10 ounces is what got me to 0.625. So looking at your weights and what if you're going to be shipping things, this is going to be really important, and we're going to come back to that. But what I wanted to just kind of point out was some of the little homework items that I took care of. And then today, what we're going to be doing is going over upgrading the sites. So down here at the bottom left, I'm going to go upgrade. And we got these coupons that you're going to have to probably get with Professor Hassey or your professor on to figure out what your code is going to be. But we have these coupon codes, but there's a couple different types of plans for websites. We want to pick this middle one here, business and e-commerce plans, because we're actually going to be selling product. And I want you to pick this business VIP one here. And I did check, Professor Hassey, last time the codes weren't right for the VIP, but these do seem to work for us. So we're in good shape there this go round. But we're going to go ahead and pick a plan. Our coupon codes are only good for a yearly plan, so make sure you don't pick years 2 or 3. And then we are going to have to enter our coupon code. So I'm going to remove this coupon code here, and I'm going to enter in my promo code. I'm not going to steal one of yours from the group. I'm actually going to use mine. So I'm going to pause my screen share for me 1 second. How do I do that? There it is. So let me pause, and I'm going to plug in my secret code here. So let's see here. And then I'm going to basically, all I'm doing is I'm clicking the blue button that says purchase, because once I click apply, it's going to basically discount the cost that you saw a second ago to 100%. So the dollar amount is 0, but it is important to mention you are going to have to enter a credit card here, and we're going to need to set a reminder for whoever, and I think you're going to have to get with your professor to get their credit card information. But we're going to set a reminder to take down the websites at the end, because we are using a coupon code, but they're going to require like an auto renew. So we got to turn that off later. So just put a little placeholder on the calendar towards the end of this semester. We're going to come back to that for the people who are in charge of the websites. I've got another little video, and there's a couple steps that we're going to go through. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit submit purchase, and I'm going to reshare my screen. Say resume share. All right, now you guys should be able to see my screen again. It says now get the best domain name for free. Everybody seeing that? Okay, so one of your homework items was to pick a domain name. And again, homework items, depending on where you're at with your group, if you don't have a domain name, you don't need to take it live just yet. You know, you don't want to, change it. But for my example, I'm just going to go with www.sallyskateshop2.com. First, you got to search to make sure it's available, who it is, and I'm going to go ahead and get it. And it's going to walk us through, whenever you buy a domain name, you have to register it. So right away, it's trying to say 2 years. We only have, in our coupon code, we only get a 1 year. So do change that to 1 year, and you can see over here, it automatically discounts to free. So again, continue. You will need to plug in your address and information for whenever you register a domain name. So I like privacy, and that's going to be on the next screen. So this is where I like to buy for $10, basically having Wix as my registered agent, the person, that's kind of safeguards me from having a public registration, which basically lists my personal address out there on the web. Anybody using WhoIsLookup could basically, look up my domain name and see who's registered with that. But I like to go with the private registration. And I guess I'd ask one of the professors if this is an eligible reimbursable expense. Well, I guess if they're giving you their credit card, they're going to need to get reimbursed, right? Silence is acceptance, so we're going to go forward with that. But this is kind of how we did it last year. I don't know if you guys went with the private, but I like it because it keeps you from getting a bunch of spam email. And you're going to hit continue. And now we are going to have to pay for it. Let's go ahead and submit purchase, $10. Now we have a domain name, the www.yourcompany.com. Again, it gives it a little bit of a legitimacy to our business venture. In addition to having a secure website, because we're taking payments. So you'll notice the little lock icon up here. It's going to try and upsell me for a mailbox. We aren't going to do that, and we don't get a coupon code for that with our handy dandy coupon codes. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess go down here and go to my domains. This is going to be where you can always find your purchase. Let me move you guys over here. Your receipts under billing history here, but it will take, I would say, about 24 to 48 hours, and you will have to confirm that the email address you use is actually a valid email address. So, but it will take about 24 to 48 hours before, when you type in www.com or yourcompany.com, to go to your published website when you're ready. So just keep that in mind, and I think it says it down here. But simple as that. We just saved like $600, so big shout out to Wix and OHAD specifically for this great contribution to help us do our program online like this. But let's see here. If I want to go back to my dashboard now, because now we've basically upgraded the sites and we've got a domain. When we upgraded it, you'll also start to see a lot more bells and whistles. Again, we picked the VIP plan, so we've got some pretty cool stuff that we have at our disposal. And the first one I want to talk about that's really cool and makes things simple when it comes to tax. So a lot of times when you're setting up an e-commerce website, people get really kind of finicky and a little scared about tax. And I want to lay it out kind of simple. We're only going to be selling in California because of this ruling called South Dakota versus Wayfair. And pretty much you could look it up, and I would definitely advise you to do so. There's some good information on here. Dakota versus, was it South Dakota? Or I forget which one. Let's see here. Supreme Court decision. Okay, yeah. So this one basically, e-commerce has been blowing up, right? Before this ruling, it used to say, hey, if you have a physical presence in my state, let's say I'm the state of Virginia, but you're in California, if you have a physical presence here, whether it be an employee or like a lease space, you had to remit sales tax to each state that you have a physical presence in. And I'm really boiling this down, because then South Dakota versus Wayfair came along and they established what's referred to as an economic nexus. Let's say the state of Virginia, or in this case, state of South Dakota, I should have picked that one. They said, look, too much commerce is going on interstate, and these people don't have a physical location in our state, but we're getting, shorted some sales tax from furniture and stuff. Because Wayfair, you could think, like they sell a lot of, I think, furniture, right? But and they kind of came up with this ruling and said each state comes up with an economic nexus, which is really just a fancy way of saying a threshold by which, if you cross as a business owner, you have to pay sales tax, and they can come after you. So I'm bringing up this, and you could search it up if you just type in economic nexus by state. In California, we have a threshold of $500,000 in sales. But if you look at, let's say, a different state, let's say the state of Arkansas, it can be 200 transactions or $100,000. Now you cross that threshold. So every state is different. And that, my friends, is why we're only selling in the state of California. I know it's a little bit of a downer. So tier, you can put up the tier emojis or, things like that. But we want to stay out of hot water with other states in the union, so to speak. So, but I want to bring that up because it gets a little kind of challenging, to say the least, to find out, okay, if I'm in Chino Hills and I'm selling to somebody in Laverne, technically those are two different sales tax rates. And the person who, or the department that charges for sales tax is the CDTFA, or California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. Sales tax, say lookup, by city, let's just say. So it used to be, you had to kind of like keep up to date with all these sales taxes, and technically it still is. But let's see here, I'm trying to think where it would be effective, and they're always changing. So, like for example, you've got, okay, this is not what I was looking for, but Chino Hills, 7.75% as of today. Laverne's gonna be 10.25. So how do you as a retailer have to keep up with this? Well, there is a third-party app in our system or our website platforms, and in most cases, any web development for e-commerce will have a little app. There's an app for everything. So if I go to, let's see, where's my dashboard again? Under settings, what we want to do is we want to enable, basically automate our sales tax. So we've talked about last time some of the general settings here. Now we want to, we're going to skip over accept payments because we're going to talk about that next time. And we're going to come back to store shipping. We're going to jump right down here to tax. And this is where we have this option now, because we are VIP, where we can automate our tax using a third-party service called Avalara. I think I pronounced that right. And when we continue through this, we're going to enter in, our information, but I think we're going to have to, let's see, does it ask for EIN? I wasn't sure here. Email address. Let's see, integrated. At gmail.com. So, okay, I've got the university's address and so forth here. But I'm creating an account. So basically, when someone goes through the checkout process on our website, and we've all been there, you plug in your zip code and your address. And what it's going to do is it's going to go basically grab the information from a database that they maintain and plug in the right tax rate so that we can withhold that sales tax. Because this isn't an expense to the customer, nor is it a revenue to us. We are really just a piggy bank for the state of California that whenever we sell a tangible product, we have to withhold sales tax. Candy bar, go down to the store, it's $1 plus tax, right? Well, that tax isn't really, that sales tax isn't the business owner's money. They just hold it for the state of California, and then that's where taxes go to pay for all the roads, bridges, and so forth. So I want to point that out because it really takes the pain out of managing this tax stuff. And actually, Avalara, if you're starting your own e-commerce business, you'll have to file sales tax returns. And you don't have to deal with that because Professor Hassey has got your back, but Professor Hassey and the administration for the University of Laverne do. So just want to point that out. I don't know if there's anything else Professor Hassey maybe he left, but other faculty members want to interject there, or just keep going. Good. We're good. Okay. So we're good there. Now, let me just make sure I'm hitting all my lovely points here. State tax. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I know it's a little bit of a downer. We're only selling in California, but hey, we're doing things right, So now, again, I just mentioned we're only selling in California. Well, what if somebody in Virginia or Alaska wants to buy our products? Well, hold on. We don't want them to go through the checkout process and then, we have to deal with the whole, oh, I'm sorry, but we don't ship there or we can't sell to you. So what we want to do is, again, go back to our settings. And now in store shipping, this is where you're going to spend some time. And I really want to emphasize test, test, test before you go live. You start your marketing because you're going to hit up all your friends, family, and fools, you know. But we want to make sure they deliver a good experience. So do test this. So first and foremost, we're going to turn off international shipping because we're not shipping to the rest of the world. And even though we're shipping within the United States, we want to edit this rule to take away all states except for California. I mean, that's a pretty big audience if you ask me. So there you go. Now we want to also look at how we're going to be shipping. So I went down to Wally World or Walmart and I'm selling t-shirts. So I had to figure out what kind of packaging material am I going to use? Am I going to go with the standard, you know, box that's from USPS, or am I going to, and I found one, a little bubble mailer here that can fit my shirt. Again, I weighed it. So you're going to need to create some shipping rules. If you're going to offer free shipping, flat rate shipping, rate by weight, but the best, in my opinion, but it will take some tweaking and working around. And this is really where e-commerce websites kind of exhaust you, I'll be honest, because shipping should be a net zero game. You shouldn't make money from your customers by overcharging our shipping because, you know, and you shouldn't lose money from your customers. You pay exactly what it's going to cost you, right? That's the ideal situation. And so again, with our VIP plan, now we can use a little app from USPS to get a calculated shipping rate. So what it will do is, again, when someone's going through the checkout process in our cart now, it will ask for their address. So not only are we charging the right sales tax, but we can also charge the right shipping. But we have to plug in some more information. And this is where I want you to kick the tires. And I know we're a little ahead for some of our groups that are picking products. You're looking at weights and stuff like that. So just kind of investigate this further. But in my case, I found when I did some research that I can get away with first class mail, which is really cheap, by using, because it's under 13 ounces. So you can check out, definitely learn more about the USPS website. If you're like me, I kind of look at this and I get a little scared. I'm gonna be honest. You know, business is scary, but you got to get over that fear. You got to call people and talk to people, and you got to read. I spent a lot of time reading on this site to learn about their shipping items, because I don't know about you, when I get in that line for the USPS, it's intimidating. Like, you get in there, you get up there, you put your package on the scale, and they tell you what you owe them. And if there's no questions, it's not like, well, is that right? You know, I want you to really think through your product and not be intimidated. Go down there and not in a rush or something, maybe, you know, socially distance, all that stuff, or read and call, because they do have a phone number, but find out, they say, hey, I'm setting up a website, I'm trying to ship. You'll find that there are people who are actually helpful that will help you pick the right kind of package or the right shipping. And where I ran into a problem is I have this great package and I'm going to set up this rule here on my website, but only one shirt fits in it. So when someone buys 2 shirts, I ran into an issue. So think about that from not only someone buying one product, like I was thinking, I'm selling t-shirts, sell one t-shirt at a time. Well, what happens if somebody wants to buy multiple products? How many can fit in there? So in this case, we're going to continue on. I'm going to say first class mail. It's pretty straightforward, package type, but it gets a little tricky. So here they'll give you kind of like the typical boxes. These are going to be a little bit more expensive, but I could fit more in them. So I got to start thinking like you can set up multiple shipping rules as well. But I'm going to go with a custom package name. It says bubble mailer here on my package, and it's 11 inches. Believe it or not, it's 2 inches tall and 8.5 wide. You can add other packages and make one a default, but this is where you test. And the important thing here is the shipping from location. Because I mentioned it before, not only is it how heavy the product is and what kind of shape it's in, but are you going far or are you going short? And this way we can actually calculate the right amount of shipping. And we can actually print the labels directly from Wix, which makes it even easier. And we get a little bit better rate than if you went down to the USPS. So this is going to be an important address, because if you're in, who's going to be responsible for shipping? This is going to be something to think about, because you don't want to have all your inventory scattered all throughout Southern California. You want to probably have that role, if I were to guess, and every group's going to be different, but kind of handled by certain folks. And granted, the zones are pretty big. So, I mean, if you're like Chino Hills, like it's not that far apart. It's not going to make a big difference. But this is where, I would probably want to plug in, my address so I can get the correct shipping rate. And then the backup setting would say like, okay, in case for any reason, let's say we only had a rule for the, buying one shirt at a time, but somebody checks out and wants to buy two, we want to charge them, I don't know, $7. But this is where I really want you to test things. Wix has got some other kind of plugins here that honestly, they're adding more stuff all the time. And I do not know everything. So this is where you kind of kick the tires, you learn, you make mistakes in some cases, but you test before you go too far, too quick. But then we can save our shipping rule so that when someone goes through our checkout process, if they're outside of California, they're going to get the, oh, wait, so sorry, we don't ship there. And they won't get through that process. And if they are in California, we'll be able to calculate the right amount of sales tax. So those were the three kind of things that I wanted to cover today. It's 4:02, so I wanted to have some more time for our breakout rooms. No one wanted to come back from the breakout rooms. Everybody must be having such a good time. Do we still have Professor Fiallo on the line? Oops. Because if not, I'm going to put in the chat real quick just some ideas to keep thinking about. I know you guys have so much stuff you're working on right now. I was just talking with Professor Hicks about like not only this class, but other classes. And it's kind of like, so just take it for what it's worth. We're recording this stuff so you can go back and watch it. I'm going to put in some things to think about in the chat. Homework, work with your professors about, once you get your domain name, taking the site live, you're going to need their credit card. I think that's how we did it last year. Finishing setting up the site, your products, looking at the weights, some of the things we talked about today, and purchasing even shipping supplies, like thinking about what you're going to need, the tape, envelopes for the person who may be in charge of that, looking at store policies, just kind of poking around in the different settings, and especially the triggered emails. That one's pretty cool. We're going to talk next time about accepting payments, fulfillments, and some of the reports. But for right now, I'm gonna toss it over to you right now, Professor Hicks. You ready? Oh no, he didn't. All right, close us out with some good words of wisdom after catching that awesome whoa.
All right, so here's the deal, you guys. Sometimes when we're learning things and we're in the middle of the battle and we're studying a million subjects, we don't appreciate what's happening at the time. Today, I worked with a client who is setting up his website for his business and needs to get it up quick, and he doesn't understand websites. So he has to go to lynda.com, sit there and play 10-minute tapes for the rest of the day to figure out how to set up his website, right? Had he had this class, had he had exposure, he'd have some idea of what to do and could start down the road and maybe just have to check out a few things along the way. So the key word of the day is gratefulness. You guys should be grateful for the information that you're receiving here, because someday you're going to be setting up a website and you're going to go, okay, I've done this before, or at least I was involved in the process, or at least I understand that there's a front end and a back end. I understand that, we need to set up a commerce site. I have the fundamentals down. And so you'll appreciate it more at this point than you do at 4 o'clock, 4:30 on a Tuesday, right? Okay, so try to get the perspective, try to keep that in your mind, and let's keep moving forward with our websites. All right, that's it. That's all I got, Sean.
All right, I will see you guys same time, same place next week. See you until next Tuesday. Have a great week.